Everywhere you look, you see a lot of people saying the Lumix S5 Mark II is the best frame camera in the world. But is that really what it is? Let's find out together. The Lumix S5 Mark II and all the hype have raised one question in the minds of everyone. Is it the right camera for me? By the time you're done watching this video, you will know the answer to that question. The Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II is the successor to the Lumix S5, which was successful and, with such great specs, competes with some of the top and most successful cameras like Canon, Sony, and Nikon. But does it mean that the successor, the S5 Mark II, will also compete with some of the top cameras? Let's find out together. But before we get into it, take a moment to click on the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. Now, let's get into it. The Panasonic Lumix range of cameras has slowly adopted and grown into full frame and has gained the admiration of many photographers and videographers. Over the years, one thing that has held back Panasonic is the focus on the depth from defocus autofocus system instead of focusing on modern trends like phase detection-based AF setups. Specs. The Lumix S5 Mark II boasts some of the best features cameras have at the moment. Starting off, the S5 II has a 24.2 MP CMOS sensor with no low filter low pass. Also, the image processor was co-developed with L2 technology and has an auto/low/high dual native ISO with a 779-point phase hybrid AF. In terms of the size, it has a maximum image size of 6000 x 4000L for RAW and JPEG, and a 96 MP high-resolution mode for both RAW and JPEG. The video this camera produces is 6K full sensor readout /29, 97 25 24 23, 98p 5, 9K/29, 97 25 24 23, 98p, and C 4K/60/50/30/24p. The metering modes are 1728 zone multi-pattern sensing system, center-weighted, and spot. The high frame rate, HFR, is C4K/47, 95/48p, 4K/47, 95/48p, 3K/47, 95/48p, and FHD/180/120/100/60/30/24p. Also, it has an EVF, a 68-meter dot viewfinder, and two XSD/SDHC/SDXC UHS-2 memory card slots. On the other side, it has a 3-inch vari-angle touchscreen, a 1.84 dot LCD, a max burst of 30 FPS for the electronic shutter, and 7 FPS with AFC for the mechanical shutter. In the area of connectivity, the S5 supports both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Not forgetting, the body, hot shoe cover, battery, and card X1 together weigh 740 grams with a size dimension of 134.3 x 102.3 x 90.1 mm. Pros and cons of the Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II. Pros is 24 megapixel sensor, max, ISO 204800, 3's articulating touchscreen, 30 FPS burst mode, 6K video mode, 60 FPS 4K video mode, 779 focus points, eye detection focus, weather resistant, in-body image stabilization, real-time LUTs. Cons: 370 shot battery, 740 gram body. The Panasonic S5 Mark II is a bit bigger than its predecessor. It has a few millimeters more width and length. This can work against you if you already have Panasonic S5 accessories. The S5 II is also slightly heavier, weighing 26 grams more than the original S5. In practice, you will hardly notice this. Unfortunately, the new S5 Mark II's battery life has declined slightly. you can take 370 photos on a single charge, whereas the older S5 can only take 440 photos. Would you like to shoot several times? Then you may consider taking a second battery, the Panasonic S5 Mark II VRS, the Panasonic S5. The Panasonic S5 Mark II is the successor to the S5 II, which is one of the best of the S5 flagships from Panasonic. Overall, the S5 and S5 II have almost the same features, like water resistance, a 24-megapixel sensor, a 3-inch articulating touchscreen, eye detection focus, and many others. However, there are several differences between the two cameras. The S5 weighs 740 grams compared to the 714 grams of the S5. The S5 II can take 6K videos, but the S5 cannot. The focus point on the S5 is 225 compared to 779 on the S5 II. Another difference is that the S5 II has a 30 FPS burst mode, but the S5 has 7 FPS. Key features: a new dimension for Panasonic. The Panasonic Lumix S5 II is a new dimension for Panasonic, with several new features and a very fair and competitive price. To begin with, let's look at the sensor, which is a full-frame 24-megapixel sensor. With a high-resolution sensor, every beautiful detail can be captured without compromising the quality, cinematic quality video. With the direction of videos and the demand from most people, cinematic videos are gradually becoming the new norm. As a result, every videographer wants a camera that can capture quality cinematic videos. The S5 II can record 6K videos with a maximum frame rate of 30 frames per second. Also, there is an option to shoot a high-quality slow-motion video with the FHD option at 180 frames per second. With this option, videographers can slow down images up to 7.5 times, and it's a common feature on most of the already existing Panasonic cameras. To absorb unwanted movements and make videos run as smoothly as possible, the S5 II has in-body image stabilization, which makes sure that all the unwanted movements are removed before the final results. Out-of-the-world focus. One of the features that easily disqualifies a camera from making it into the top tier is the focus. This is one of the new improvements that the S5 II took very seriously. Automatically, it detects multiple types of subjects and adjusts their behavior accordingly. When taking a picture, for example, the S5 II can recognize whether the subject is a human being or an animal, making sure that all your pictures look good, even in burst mode. If you love motorsport and wildlife photos, then you will find the focus very useful since you can focus on the eyes of humans and animals. The Lumix S5 Mark II is Panasonic's first camera to use phase detection. This guarantees that you're able to focus clearly even in low-light situations. This is made possible by a total of 779 focus points that can focus across the entire sensor. This puts the Panasonic S5 Mark II on an equal footing with its rivals Sony, Canon, and Nikon. The electronic and mechanical shutters. With the mechanical shutter, you can shoot at a very high speed of 9 frames per second. The electronic shutter, on the other hand, can shoot up to 30 frames per second. The main advantage of the electronic shutter over the mechanical shutter is the ability to shoot silently. And if you are wondering what happens when you take accidental photos, you can set the camera to make a sound. In addition to the speed, you can shoot up to 200 plus JPEG and RAW photos in succession. What this means is that you can press the shutter button for more than 6 seconds without any buffering. And of course, your attention is needed to make sure all the moments are captured. What happens in dark environments? A common question everyone asks when buying a new camera is how it performs in dark environments. Late weddings, evening meetups, late-night birthday parties, bridal showers, dinners, and many other evening events require that every photographer has a camera that will perform well in dark environments. If you are considering buying the Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II, then it is worth noting that you don't have to worry about that. The latest processor, which powers the S5 II, improves very well when it comes to noise performance. Compared to other models, this camera will perform better in low-light conditions, making sure that you can take your photos in dark environments without compromising the quality. Also, because the S5 II has a full-frame 24-megapixel sensor, its noise performance is exceptional compared to cameras with more megapixels like the Panasonic S1R and the Canon EOS R5. In addition, autofocus is available down to -6 EV exposure. This is comparable to other pro cameras on the market. You can shoot well in the dark if you use bright lenses, such as the 50 MEA f1. 8. What about landscape? You heard correctly. The Lumix S5 Mark II has a special mode that lets you shoot images with up to 96 megapixels. This sensor shift mode is also present in the Sony A7RV. If you need to see a great deal of detail, the Lumix S5 II is ideal. You'll need a tripod and a stationary subject to use this mode on the S5 II. The Lumix S5 Mark II then takes several photos that are later stitched together. It's ideal for landscape photography. The Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II is one of the best cameras on the market now. With new features and upgrades to its predecessor, the Panasonic CS5. We have covered several features of the S5 II, and in conclusion, it is worth the price. If you would like to find some cool deals, look into the comments section below for some of the best deals now. Lastly, don't forget to like and subscribe to Techsimo for more tech reviews and product updates.